Never again should students, teachers, and administrators be afraid to go to school. Never again should parents be worried about leaving their child at any school. Never again should life be lost inside of a school. To the families and friends of the victims, I want to say that the pain you are living with is also our pain. For we are a family, and we stick together as one. The 17 angels in heaven will always be in our hearts forever. Aaron, Chris, Scott, Elena, Alex, Alyssa, Kara, Carmen, Gina, Elena, Jamie, Joaquin, Luke, Martin, Meadow, Nicholas, Peter. We will never forget you all. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, Parkland, Florida, the United States, and the world won't ever forget these precious names. At this time, I want all of you to give a hug to the closest person next to you. Hug them like there's no tomorrow. Hug them like they're your brothers and sisters. Hug them with all your love. Like it states in the song, there are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make it a better place for you and for me. Thank you all again for being here, and God bless you all. Oh. Always remember and say it with me. Be positive, be passionate, and be proud to be an eagle. We will shine, and this is why we march.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cassie Skirbo, and I am a Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Eagle alum. There is no place in the world that I would rather be right now than with my fellow Eagles and with all of you. Parkland, to my forever home, to my resilient, brave, and beautiful home. What happened on February 14th, 2018 shattered my heart into countless pieces. But I vow to take each and every one of those pieces and to do good, to continue to fight the good fight with you all, to continue to use my voice to march and to ensure that changes are made. I've never been more proud to be from Parkland, Florida, and I have never been more proud to be an Eagle. Sometimes words just aren't enough, so I decided to put together a little video of myself singing along with some other people. And if you know the lyrics, please sing along, because together we can change the world, and together we will heal the world. And to our 17 angel eagles, we love you, we stand for you, and this one's for you. This is why I march.
Playback.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place be much brighter than tomorrow.
And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow.
There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living.
Make a little space,
Make a better place. Heal the world. Make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for the living. for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving.
If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. Fear or dread, we stop existing and start living.
And it feels that always love's enough for us growing.
So make a better world.
Make a better world. Heal the world. Make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. And the dream we were conceived in will reveal its joyful face. And the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. Then why do we keep strangling life?
On this earth crucified the soul. Though it's plain to see this world is heavenly. In God's glow.
Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Make a better place for you and for me. The world we live in, save it for our children. Heal the world we live in, save it for our children. Heal the world we live in, save it for our children. Heal the world we live in, save it for our children.
Good morning. My name is Jesus Caro, and I'm the Director of Speech and Debate at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. I was asked to speak to you today as a voice for the teachers at MSD. There are over 3,300 students and over 200 teachers, staff, and administrators. The past few weeks have been difficult for me and for many in this community. The tragic events that have taken place have shaken our community to its core and will continue to test us for years to come. Today, I am inspired. I'm inspired by all of the support and friends, family, and neighbors from all across the world. I'm inspired by the voices and courage of you, our children, and our students. I have seen the students making noise and making headlines, but I also know that the hardest effort and toughest work does not always play out on the front page. We have all had difficult and necessary conversations. Students, parents, and community members alike have made their voices heard from the floor in Tallahassee to the steps on Capitol Hill. Keep it up. This community is special, and this platform is in a unique moment in time. Let's make it count. The tragedy that occurred on February 14th lies at the intersection of many political issues: school safety, mental health, firearm regulations, and countless others. Today, I know many of us are here focused and determined to ensure new regulations are placed on the purchasing of a weapon that with little training can result in the death of 17 innocent people. But for me and others, it's also about much more than that. For me, this tragedy is about the unfathomable burden that the school and educational system has to bear. Teachers are supposed to be educators, mentors, therapists, advocates, and role models, but we're also supposed to be security guards and caretakers. Administrators at schools have to be skilled navigators of the legal, mental health, and educational system. They have to make sure children have adequate growth and learning and that the school is secure. Yet we as a country don't really know what we want the public school system to be. We're told that the future of education is not in test scores and subject matter knowledge, but in relationships and social skills. Well, where the hell are those classes? I will tell you that they are in the arts and athletic programs. We need to change our expectations and our assumptions of the role that schools play in our society. How can we expect to solve the problem of gun violence if we shift the responsibility of our troubled youth around? This keeps the problem hidden from our eyes, only to have it return with violent carnage. I'm a speech and debate coach at Stoneman Douglas. In my classroom, we have a lot of conversations about difficult subjects. I try to make my classroom an open and safe space where students can share their concerns, controversial viewpoints, and even express their passions. But I don't think I'm alone in my commitment to making my classroom and my team a community where students can grow and find outlets for their interests. I think that all teachers have this ideal in mind when they first walk into a classroom. They want to change students' lives. Often they want students with the most promise or the least hope to rise above the now moment and be agents of change. I'm not from a privileged family. My parents divorced when I was young and I struggled with behavior problems. I'm thankful, though, that I was able to find a community where I could mature and find respectable peers and other role models to guide me away from the self-destructive behavior. I couldn't be the person that I am today if it weren't for the tireless educators and friends that helped me throughout my life. Something needs to change. Let's make our schools safer. Let's make our neighborhoods safer. We have to shape our communities to give opportunities for every child to be a part of something bigger than themselves and an opportunity to express their passions productively. I don't have all the answers, but I know that it must begin with respecting and funding the work of our public educators. We have to give more protections to our administrators and teachers to deal with students at the margins. We have to throw away the idea that schools are simply mills to give kids jobs or prepare them for college. Schools should be a place where students can find direction, meaning, and purpose. I think this moment is special because we're hearing the voices of our children speak loudly and confidently. I think this moment has reminded us of the power that comes from community. We have to use that power to make a positive change. Register to vote, stay politically active, stay persistent, and stay vigilant. However, we must remember the real fight comes in changing the conversation and voting patterns of the future. This is beyond politicians. This is beyond interest groups. These voters are your friends, family, and neighbors. These conversations are more than gun control, mental health issues, and school safety. It's about getting people out to vote so we can shape our communities to be safer and more secure. We need these conversations to make the better world for our children. It is our responsibility to use this platform we've been given and the power of our voice to make the world a better place. I don't know what's in store for the future, but I know that we will continue to fight for change. I don't know what to tell the families of those who lost their loved ones, but what I do know is that today we march for them. I march for the children in Liberty City, Chicago, Baltimore, and countless other cities who continue to be impacted by gun violence. I march for the teacher who leaves their closet door open in case of a code red at their school. I march for the mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and best friends who have had to lay a piece of them to rest forever because of senseless gun violence. I march because we need a united voice to make a change, and this is why I march.
I was taking notes in my psychology classroom when the horrid sound of gunshots echoed the walls of the 1200 building. My name is Samantha Mayer, and on the 14th of February, I was shot in the knee in my 4th period classroom. My classmates and I laid helplessly on the floor, hearing and feeling rapid gunfire. As I am aware that the horrific tape that replays in my head will never be rewinded, I am also aware that the need for change is overdue. Change was due before 17 lives were brutally taken from such innocent souls. I acknowledge that change comes with time, but when time is so precious, it is hard to wait. It is time for an immediate change. School safety is often so simple that it is overlooked. School safety regulations can be changed now. How can one prioritize the subjects they are in school to learn when they know that their safety is not being ensured in their learning environment? How can one take their attention off of what is outside the classroom if potential danger can be on the other side of the door waiting to shoot through it? It drowns me with complete sadness to recognize that such a horrific tragedy had to occur for change to be so prevalent. My classroom window should not shatter the second it comes into contact with a bullet. A murderer should not have been able to enter the hallway from which he aimed his gun from. The safest corner in my classroom should not only fit most of my classmates. How can one feel safe with such little internal change being made? It sickens me to sit in class now knowing that the windows in the classroom doors are so easy to break. My class was struck with the greatest sense of fear when we saw the glass of the door broken, that all the killer had to do was reach his hand through the part of the door that previously held the glass intact and turn the doorknob. At that point, it didn't matter if the door was locked. It didn't matter that we were hiding. It didn't matter that we were silent. He could enter if he wanted to. He could have made it through a locked classroom door that easily. He should have never passed the background check. He should have never been given the means to kill. A vicious murderer. A vicious murderer should have never been able to get his hands on such a deathly weapon. We need stricter background checks to stop people who so clearly should not be armed. Until we enact common sense gun laws, safety will only be a suggestion that most people agree with, but no one makes motions to change. Safety is just an idea if we do not make strides to enforce it. The time for change is now. Children deserve to live full, long, happy lives. Before another heinous crime is committed, before more helpless lives are ended, we need to change the safety of our students. One can only begin to feel safer once change is made. My name is Samantha Mayer, and this is why we march.
Hello, everyone. My name's Elijah Word. I'm a proud alum of Douglas High School and a very, very proud Eagle today. Thank you all for being out here and standing up for what's right. Today I'm here with the very talented group of Nadine's Broadway Bound, and we're going to sing a song for you guys and spread some love. You guys down for that? Yeah! Come on through, brother. There comes a time when we heed a certain call. All must come together as one.
There are people dying, and it's time to take a stand for life, the greatest gift of all.
We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somehow will soon make a change. We are all a part of one great big family, and the truth, we know love is all we need.
We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start listening. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true. We'll make a better day. Just you and me.
Imagine all possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or for hunger.
No need for hunger.
Brotherhood of man. I want you to imagine all the people living life
In peace. You may say I'm a dreamer. We are the world, but I'm not the only one. We are the children. I hope someday you will join us. The ones who make a brighter day, and the world will be as one.
When you're down and out, there seems no hope at all. But if we just believe, there's no way we can fall.
Well, let's realize that a change can only come when we stand together as
They
one.
say I'm a dreamer.
Make a brighter day, so let's start listening.
But I'm not the only
There's a
one.
choice we're making.
We're saving our own lives. It's true. We'll make a better day. Just you and me.
Just you and me, we are the world.
We are the children.
I'm a dreamer.
Make a brighter day, so let's start listening.
But I'm not the only one. saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me. Just you and me. We hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Thank you.
Stay Eagle strong, everybody!
For those of you that I have not met yet, my name is Max Schachter. My little boy's name is Alex Schachter. He's the one that wrote the beautiful poem, Life is Like a Roller Coaster. As I wrote this speech last night, I could not stop crying. I would give everything to have one more day, one more hour, one more second with the sweetest boy in the world. He was 14 and big, but he was also a little boy that still liked to lie in bed and cuddle with his mommy and daddy. He liked to play basketball with his big brother Ryan, teach his little sister Avery how to become a better trombone player, and talk about Naruto with his sister Morgan. On February 13th, I was just like every other parent. My number one concern was Alex's happiness, making sure he got good grades, and most importantly, trying to limit his play of Fortnite. Looking out at this amazing and vast crowd of people, I am reminded of why I am here. It is to reflect on the 17 beautiful angels that we lost, and the 17 that were wounded on this horrible Valentine's Day afternoon. Since the day that changed my life, I have decided that I will not stop fighting for change. I can stand here today and tell you all that the 17 victims' families will not stop fighting until we make this world a better and safer place. After Alex passed away, I formed two foundations in his memory. The first is the Alex Schachter Scholarship Fund to support the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Marching Band that Alex was a proud member of. Alex was in 9th grade, and his transition to high school was a very difficult one. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas just changed their schedule to block, and it was much different than at his middle school, Westglades. The marching band required him to put a lot of hours practicing in, and even though it was challenging for Alex, juggling his studies and practicing so much, he persevered. He did not give up. He received mostly A's and a couple of B's, and in November this past year, Alex's band won the state championship. He was on cloud 9, and I was part of the Band Parents Association, so I was right there with him every step of the way. It was one of my proudest moments to watch him win that state title. The other foundation I created for Alex is the Safe Schools for Alex Foundation. The driving force behind the creation of that foundation is that Alex's death could have been prevented. All the 17 beautiful angels' lives could have been prevented. Alex was mortally wounded by gunshots that came through his classroom door while he was working on an English paper with 3 of his friends. That monster never entered Alex's classroom. If the doors had just been bulletproof and the windows, Alex and many others would still be alive today. The mission of this foundation is to create a blueprint, a standard for all schools to make our children safe. We created a fire code to make children safe so they did not die in a fire. And we were successful. No child has died in a fire in 50 years. Why don't we have safe school standards? There are simple things that we can do, easy things that we can do so that all children are not afraid to go to school and are comforted to know that they will be protected. I just returned from Washington where I met with every congressman and senator that would talk to me to stress to them the importance of making our schools safe, making our movie theaters safe, our malls safe. It does not have to be like this. We can make this a better world, a better place for everyone. Just yesterday, I met with Emma Gonzalez, David Hogg, Matt and Ryan Deich, and Alex Wind. I said to David, you must be exhausted. This has been a huge journey that you've been on since February 14th. And David's response to me was that this is just a warm-up for the marathon that we are all on. And tomorrow, he said, we start the race. He said, since February 14th, he has just been in training. All of the leaders of the March for Our Lives have been in training, and that we are going to make our children safe by electing leaders that will support responsible gun laws. Talking to him and the others inspired me to my core. They are such leaders. Shortly after this tragedy, I arranged a meeting of all the 17 families and the leaders of the March for Our Lives movement, and all the children were there. It was just a beautiful thing to watch all the families congratulate them, tell them that we love them, tell them that they are fighting for all of us, and we all have their backs and we support them 100%. When I met the leaders in Washington on Thursday, the one thing that they told me was that the progress that we have made so far is because of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas kids. It is because the 17 families have spoken with one voice, and we can change the world. The law that Governor Rick Scott signed is not perfect. It's not enough, but is a step in the right direction. The red flag law that was just signed in Florida enables law enforcement to take away the guns of violent and mentally ill people, and it has already been used several times. I want to thank Senators Bill Nelson and Marco Rubio, who I met with yesterday, for their leadership and their efforts to encourage every state to enact red flag laws. The bottom line is our voices are being heard, we are making a difference, and the beautiful lives lost have not and will not be in vain. Thank you very much.
We wrote this song for you, all of you.
Asphyxiate the mind, breaking barriers. The tears begin to rise, breaking character. Open up your eyes and see what you caused. We sell our gun shells to the predators. I can't believe this happens in America. To live another day should have no cost. So love in the moment, you only live once, just
Embrace.
You'll never know when it's the last time you'll see
Their face. No need for weapons, ease your aggression, love and be loved. Fighting your demons, we can defeat them one by one, love. When it all comes down, we will see if you really wear your heart on your sleeve. Open up the skies and the heaven gate. In memory of them, we must regulate. 6 feet under, and they will know. Politics and cynics at a standstill. Endorse what's in the hands of those who kill our brothers, sisters, daughters, sons.
So love in the moment, you only live once, just
Embrace.
You'll never know when it's the last time you'll see
Their face. No need for weapons, ease your aggression, love and be loved. Fighting your demons, we can defeat them one by one, love. When it all comes down, we will see if you really wear your heart on your sleeve.
We won't back down.
I want everyone to sing this part with us, just like that. Ready?
We won't back down. Louder! We won't back. We won't back down.
No, we won't, no, we won't. No need for weapons, ease your aggression, love and be loved. Fighting your demons, we can defeat them one by one, love. When it all comes down, we will see if you really wear your heart on your sleeve. When it all comes down, we will see
If you really wear your heart on your sleeve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Samantha Novick, and this community is my home. My dad is a dedicated Parkland commissioner. My mom is an incredible teacher at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And my brother and I are proud alums. My memories of MSD are filled with jokes at lunchtime with friends, winning the Eagles soccer state championship, and lifelong lessons from favorite teachers like Mrs. Seamus and Mr. Foster. Who could have imagined this? Not in our community. Not in the quiet, safe, wholesome neighborhood of Parkland. Not in the town where you walk into pizza time with your husband and see 5 people you know. Not in the town where your dad cut the ribbon to open the new Parkland Library that's just over there. Not where your childhood memories were made. This past month, we have mourned the loss of life. We have also mourned the loss of innocence, the loss of security, and, quite frankly, the loss of humanity. Many have also expressed the loss of this small town feel of our city and our community. At first, I felt that too. But in the hectic process of planning this amazing march, I have since changed my stance. This town feels smaller than ever. I am here today to ask you to support these students, not only in this march, but in the days and months to come as we move toward a better future. A few weeks ago, between funerals, viewings, and Shiva calls, I found myself at a local meeting trying to find meaning in this senseless tragedy. What could I do? What could we do? How could we come together? It was then that I was connected with the bright, beautiful, and driven Casey Sherman, a junior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas who expressed a passion for leading the march here in Parkland and creating change. She asked me to help her. What could I say? What can you say when the youth of this country pleads for us to listen? I didn't know what I was signing up for at that time, only that I believed in this girl, her hopes, and her dreams. Maybe it's because I needed to feel like I was making a difference. Maybe it's because thoughts and prayers didn't feel like enough. But maybe it's more than that. As my friend Fred Guttenberg shared with me earlier this month, we have to wake up each day with purpose, doing everything we can to ensure that this never happens again. That is our purpose. While preparing for this march, I've had the privilege and honor of growing closer with members of this extraordinary community. I am floored by the continued commitment you have made to support these students, and am eternally grateful for those who have poured their hearts into creating a platform for their voices. These students are our future. They are the most impressive, compassionate, and articulate individuals I have ever met in my life. Can everyone please cheer for these amazing students? I also must take a moment to thank every town for gun safety, for without your support, this would not have been possible. Demonstrations like this one have occurred throughout our country's history. In 1965, Martin Luther King Jr. led the Selma to Montgomery March to demand that African Americans have equal voting rights. In 1987, the Great March called for federal money to AIDS research and an end to discrimination against LGBT individuals. In 2017, brave women created a worldwide protest in which they demanded policy change to support equality for all individuals, regardless of gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation. And in 2018, students across the country and around the world are marching for their lives. None of you asked for this, and none of you deserve this. None of us should be here. You students should be worried about college acceptance letters, promposals, and spring break fun. You should not be mourning your 17 friends, teachers, and administrators. But here we are. And because of you, the students, we will create a safer America. Because of you, the students, we will demand that our government serves us, the people, and not the other way around. Because of you, the students, we will ensure that no other student, parent, teacher, sibling, friend, or loved one has to endure such an incomprehensible loss. Because of you, the students, my future kids will have the opportunity to go to school to learn and not live in fear. You should not have had to make this sacrifice. This march marks the beginning. Change will take time, but it will come. To the students in Washington, D.C., demanding change from our government, we thank you. To the students who walked out of class last week to protest and tell the world that fear has no place in our schools, we admire you. To the teachers and administrators, like my mom, who are underpaid and overworked, who not only spend tireless days educating our youth, but also put their lives on the line to keep students safe. To those who should not be armed with weapons, but with fair compensation, proper resources, and safer schools, we appreciate you. For all of those marching today in cities around the world, we stand with you. To the student organizers of this incredible Parkland March and my new friends, Casey, Brian, Lydia, Danny, Christine, Kosha, Adam, Alyssa, Sari, Johnny, Sam, and all of the resilient students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, we commend you. To the students and teachers who are not in the media but are hurting, we hear you. To the parents, siblings, significant others, friends, and family members who are home quietly grieving the loss of their loved ones, we see you. To the injured, physically and emotionally, we support you. To those who do not have a platform and face gun violence on a daily basis, we stand for you. And to the 17 we lost, we honor you. Casey would be the first to tell you that I haven't been able to stop myself from quoting the Hamilton soundtrack for the past few weeks, as nothing has ever felt more relevant. So here's what I say to you nonstop students, courtesy of Lin-Manuel Miranda. There are moments that the words don't reach, and there is suffering too terrible to name. You are all going through the unimaginable. This is not a moment, it's the movement. And history has its eyes on you. The revolution's imminent. And when our children tell your story, they'll tell the story of tonight. And this is why we march. Thank you.
Yet have reached our glory, but I will gladly join the fight. And when our children tell their story, they'll tell the story of tonight. They'll tell the story of tonight. Tonight.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear?
Well, let that lonely feeling wash away.
All we see is light.
'Cause maybe there's a reason to just when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand and hold.
Raise a glass to freedom, something they can never take away. No matter what they tell you,
someone will come running to take you home.
Oh, I need a graphic that says New York. Did you? Selecting some already?
High School.
Thank
just
you,
one of the many
everyone, for
students
coming
who
out.
spent the last month
Because
expending
change
every
starts with those
remaining
who
ounce
show
of
up.
energy.
Oh, this goes slow. Damn it. That's just not fair.
That plagues everyday communities in inner cities. It affects Black and Latino people disproportionately. I also came here because I lost my father to gun violence when I was 8 years old. And this is my little brother right here. He was still in my mother's stomach when our father was shot and killed. Young people, we are the catalyst of social change. There will be no movement without us. You are never, listen to me, young people, you are never too young to stand up for what's right. I've been doing this since I was 13 years old and I'm now 17. Stand up for what you believe in and never let anyone silence your voice, because your voice matters and we are powerful. The people united will never be divided.
Right on, right on.
And this can't just be a moment. Young people, all the young activists out here, keep in mind that we're not just doing this for the moment. We're not just doing this for the people now. We're doing this for generations to come. We're doing this to have generational impact. This is why, another reason why I started a national campaign called Vote 2000. And it's aimed to get all the new voters, where's all my 2000s babies at? Make some noise. Yeah. All right. So it's aimed to get the next generation of voters, which is everyone that's turning 18, registered to vote, and also to increase voter literacy. Because contrary to popular belief, young people, we will vote. And to all the elected officials out there that don't support this cause, which is so, I don't understand how you cannot support this. These are lives being lost. But to the NRA and all the politicians taking money for them, we're going to vote you out of office. So, when I say vote 2000, you guys repeat after me. I want you guys to remember this. Hashtag it. Vote 2000. Vote 2000. All right. So I'm going to end. Wait, before I end, I just want to remind you guys that it's my little brother. He's 9. His name is Iman. And this is what the effects of gun violence looks like. He never got a chance to meet our father. I'm so proud of him. This is his first protest. So I'm going to end with the Asada chant. I say it 3 times, and each time we get louder, and on the last time, we have our fists in the air. So repeat after me. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect each other.
We must love and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect each other.
We must love and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Fists up. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect each other.
We must love and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 Ashe, thank you.
Thing. Enough is enough. People are an extremely inconsistent variable. They're unpredictable. And regulating them, that is a challenge that will take a power far beyond that of myself and my peers to overcome. Guns are a material object. They are predictable. I agree with the statement that guns don't kill people. People kill people. Logically, a gun on its own is harmless without someone to pull the trigger. But that doesn't mean they aren't a problem. These people are able to get a hold of these guns and use them to cause such massive damage. This material object, a semi-automatic weapon such as an AR-15, is an independent variable. It's dependent variable the number of mass shootings that occur in American cities each year. By changing the independent variable, you can evaluate and assess how the dependent variable reacts. We are not saying that guns are the only reason that mass shootings continue to occur. We are saying that they factor in, and we are demanding that someone repeat the experiment that so many other countries have carried out and simply see if it yields the same results. Enough is enough! Let me be clear. This movement does not seek to repeal the Second Amendment. American citizens have and always have had the right to bear arms. But an AR-15? That is a weapon of war that no citizen needs to possess, let alone an individual deemed mentally ill. A person can't carry out a mass murder if they don't have the means to do so. Enough is enough. Time and time again, no one has changed any of the variables. If you don't change any of the variables, then the outcome will stay the same. Today, we're not here to fight for gun control, we're here to fight for gun safety. No matter your political affiliation, we are all human and we all want to keep each other safe. Enough is enough! No child should ever fear going to school. It is clearly an issue if even after all of this madness, the school that should be the most heavily secured in the entire country still has inattentive security guards and students bringing weapons on campus. Enough is enough! Were the 17 at Douglas not enough? Enough is enough! The 26 at Sandy Hook, enough is enough! The 49 at Pulse, enough is enough! The 58 in Las Vegas, enough is enough! The 96 in America who die from guns every single day, but whose stories you never hear, enough is enough! At some point, we have to stop and realize enough is enough. We are here because our voices matter. We are here because we know we can make a change. We have already seen what we can do. Our voices do matter. If our current legislative officials will not work towards gun safety measures that we, their people, support, then we will elect new representatives who will. March, rally, and register to vote. Never let anybody tell you what you can or can't do. We are the change we wish to see in the world. We are the future. Enough is enough! My name is Casey Sherman, and this is why we march.
Good morning. My name is Tony Montalto. This is my son, Anthony. And my daughter, Gina Montalto, was a victim in the mass shooting at her school on February 14th. I find myself in an unfamiliar spot, speaking to all of you today. I prefer a background role rather than being center stage. In the wake of this tragedy, our family has been blessed with an amazing amount of support from this community. Your actions have shown that we did indeed make a good choice when we moved into Parkland over 11 years ago. Thank you. One of the things that drew us to this community was the quality of the schools. The teenagers we have seen step forward to drive the groundswell of support on the issues before us today have reflected a positive light on their parents and this entire community. We are all proud of you. To our legislators and political leaders, we hope you are listening to your constituents assembling around the country today. We need to change the status quo when it comes to school safety. Marjorie Stoneman, the families of the victims in our community Public Safety helped persuade our governor into law earlier and the majority of Florida state senators and representatives to pass the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas As evidenced by news reports, public safety provisions of this law are making us safer this month. As evidenced by news reports, the provisions of this law are making us safer already. This historic legislation was an important first step toward improving school safety. Our state political leaders were able to put aside their differences and swiftly find a compromise to keep the process moving forward. Compromise. It's not a dirty word. It's how the world works. It's the only way the world works. In a marriage, we compromise to keep harmony in our homes. In commerce, the buyer and the seller agree on a deal, and each gain something through the process. Our system of government, with its inherent checks and balances among the three branches, depends on compromise to work properly. The only way to get the change we are demanding here today is for both political parties to stop blaming each other and come together for an agreement that makes real change. We need action. Some of the politicians I spoke with earlier this month said they felt as if no matter which way they voted, it would be the wrong choice. My answer to them, the choice is easy. Vote to make our schools safer. Some here today may be disappointed that change has not come fast enough. However, we will not take down the wall of stagnation by running into it head first. Removing one brick at a time may be the path that is needed. Small, achievable changes each time we try will make a big difference in the long run. In baseball, 4 singles put up the same score as a home run, but those singles take teamwork and perseverance. We need that from the people gathered here today. The battle for change is a marathon, not a sprint. Last week, my wife and I drove to St. Petersburg to speak to the Florida Constitution Revision Commission. This group meets every 20 years and recommends changes for our state constitution. As we drove, we recalled our previous trip to St. Pete in November of last year. We were there to watch the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Eagle Regiment, the band and the color guard perform at the Florida State Championship. The kids won the top spot that night, and Gina was happy and proud to be part of the winning team. Her beautiful smile stayed on her face for the whole next week. Now, less than 6 months later, we are part of this community's victims' families. It's because of our loss that the group here today has a voice that is resounding throughout the nation. We all need to fight for change. Florida has taken an important first step to enhance school safety, yet it is just the beginning of a long journey. My family has paid a terrible price for this progress. Our state leaders must continue to explore ways to keep all citizens safe. Limiting the maximum capacity of magazines for semi-automatic weapons is a good place to start. This does not affect anyone's ability to own weapons, yet it makes us all safer. This simple compromise would have saved lives right here in this town on February 14th. Gina was a smart kid with a kind heart. We felt she was destined to change the world, and through this movement, she may do just that. We call on more states to follow Florida's lead and create meaningful legislation to make all schools safer. This time must be different.
It's not on? Okay. My name is David Cohen, and I'm marching for Nicholas Dorette today on his 18th birthday.
My name is Sebastian Mifsud, and I'm marching for Coach Aaron Feiss.
My name is Ethan Rocha, and I'm marching for my good friend Luke Hoyer.
My name is Noah James, and I'm marching for Joaquin Guag Oliver.
My name is Joshua Charo, and I'm marching for Coach Scott Beagle.
My name is Caroline Bulk, and I'm marching for Carmen Shuntrut.
My name is Madison Geller, and I'm marching for Elena Petty.
My name's Carlio Ghazali, and I'm marching for my best friend Meadow Pollock.
My name's Stephen Urched, and I'm marching for my coach Chris Hickson.
My name is Morgan DeSacia, and I'm marching for my baby brother Alex Schachter.
My name is Rachel Naddis, and I'm marching for the amazing dancer Jamie Guttenberg.
My name is Casey Schatzkamer, and I'm marching for Alyssa Alhadef.
My name is Ella Giacomini, and I am marching for Kara Lochran.
My name is Alexis Tracton, and I'm marching for my friend Gina Montalto.
My name is Alana Stauffer, and I am marching for Peter Wong.
My name is Catherine Dad, and I'm marching for my best friend Helena Ramsey.
My name is Daniel Tabares. I march for a great human being, Martin Duque.
These 17 lives are why we march.
Did I switch? The singer. This is New York.
On February 14th, we all hugged and kissed our parents like we had not seen them in a year. But this is not because we were celebrating Valentine's Day. This is because on February 14th, a gunman came to our—
Take the world to his feet. Move mountains, bring it to his feet. Move mountains up, and our eyes like the day. Our eyes unafraid. Rise up, and I do it without pain. Time to get
God bless y'all. Okay, from rise up to what you guys are doing today, stand up because we won't stand for this anymore. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Please give it up for the Baltimore Choir.
Without those that stepped up in starting marches in their local communities. To our Stoneman Douglas faculty, thank you all for being so strong these past couple of weeks. Your strength has given us the courage to be resilient in our efforts. To our MSD alumni, thank you for representing our school and our voices years after leaving our city, proving to the world that once an eagle, always an eagle. March for Our Lives is a movement that started for Stoneman Douglas, but has grown to be a fight for the lives of the children of America. Through these trying times, we have leaned on our neighbors, not just the ones here today, but the ones all around. And so as students, we will thrive under this support. We will use this support to take action. We'll use this support to be the change necessary. And we will use this support to keep the memories of the 17 alive and stand behind their families. My name is Kosha Patel, and this is why we march.
So we ask, again and again and again, how could something of this magnitude could have possibly happened right in our home? Why were our elected candidates not there for us when we needed them most? They have decided to put us aside, all because they could not come to a resolution where their ideas, according to their political party, could align. And now we, the people who decided to put our trust into such candidates, have to suffer the consequences. If our goal is to truly live up to our God-given rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, we must all put in our part, regardless of our political, cultural, and personal views, just as we all are standing here today. It is not about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. It is about the safety of children of today and the children of tomorrow. Seeing each and every one of you gives us hope that we can come together as a society, as a community, as a family, because in the end, that is what we are, brothers and sisters who care for one another. In this unity is the key to obtaining our current and ultimate goal of changing gun safety and safety all around. My name is Lydia Moreno, and this is why we march.
Now, we look at our hopes for the future. Our hope to one day have a changed future. A future where students don't have to be afraid to get shot in math class or have to jump every time they hear a loud noise for fear of what lurks outside their classroom window. A future where teachers don't need to become security guards or paramedics giving tourniquets to children they were teaching to only 10 minutes ago. A future where parents don't have to bury their child that they sent to school that day thinking they were safe, only for them to never come home again. A future where children don't have to attend their friends' funerals or look over at those empty desks in their classrooms, knowing that the kids who once sat there will never sit there again. A future where we, the children of America, don't have to fight just for the right to come home from school alive. We march for the future, America's future, because we are America's future. I'm Christine Yared, and this is why we march.
Today is the day that our voices will be heard. They will be heard on the snowy peaks of every mountain. They will be heard in the great depths of every ocean. They will be heard in every chamber of the United States Capitol building. God blessed us with one mouth and two ears, and as our voices reign on this nation's very soil, everyone will hear us, the voices, crying for change. As we hear these calls and see the overwhelming love and support from the amazing people who have gathered here today, we also hear the 17 beautiful voices cheering us on from up above. They give us hope. They give us courage. They give us purpose, for it was their sacrifice that brought us here today. Now I would like to ask the students sitting behind us to please rise. Rise up and tell your story. Tell the world how powerful we are when we stand together, hand in hand, and do what past generations could not. It's up to us students to demonstrate the resilience, the passion, the pride we have for our...
To again send our thoughts and prayers.
Good afternoon. To the leaders, skeptics, and cynics who told us to sit down and stay silent, wait your turn. Welcome to the revolution. It is a powerful and peaceful one because it is of, by, and for the young people of this country. My name is Cameron Caskey. Since this movement began, people have asked me, do you think any change is going to come from this? Look around. We are the change. Everybody here is standing with the future of our society, and for that, I thank you. My generation, having spent our entire lives seeing mass shooting after mass shooting, has learned that our voices are powerful and our votes matter. We must educate ourselves and start conversations that keep our country moving forward, and we will. We hereby promise to fix the broken system we've been forced into and create a better world for the generations to come. Don't worry, we've got this. The people of this country now see past the lies. We've seen this narrative before. For the first time, the corrupt aren't controlling our story. We are. The corrupt aren't manipulating the facts. We know the truth. Shooting after shooting, the American people now see one thing they all have in common: the weapons. Politicians either represent the people or get out. The people demand a law banning the sale of assault weapons. The people demand we prohibit the sale of high-capacity magazines. The people demand universal background checks. Stand for us or beware, the voters are coming. On February 14th, tragedy struck my hometown and my school, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. Alyssa Al-Hadef, Scott Beagle, Martin Duque Anguiano, Aaron Feiss, Jamie Guttenberg, Chris Hickson, Luke Hoyer, Kara Loughran, Gina Montaldo, Joaquin Oliver, Helena Petty, Meadow Pollock, Helena Ramsey, Alex Schachter, Carmen Schentrup, Peter Wang, and Nicholas Dworet all lost their lives in less than 7 minutes. And I saved Nicholas for the end because today is Nicholas's birthday. Nicholas, we are all here for you. Happy birthday. Their families endured great pain. Many others were injured, and thousands of young people, my classmates, were forced to become adults and were targeted as adults. We have to do this for them. We must stand beside those we've lost and fix the world that betrayed them. This doesn't just happen in schools. Americans are being attacked in churches, nightclubs, movie theaters, and on the streets. But we, the people, can fix this. For the first time in a long while, I look forward 10 years and I feel hope. I see light. I see a system I'll be proud of, but it all starts with you. The march is not the climax of this movement, it is the beginning. It is the springboard off of which my generation and all who stand with us will jump into a safer future. Today is a bad day for tyranny and corruption. Today, we take to the streets in over 800 marches around the globe and demand common sense gun laws. Today, is the beginning of a bright new future for this country. And if you think today is good, just wait for tomorrow. We must protect, educate, and inspire the future. And everybody here is proof that we will do that, and the future is looking very bright for this country. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I want to start off with a chant. Everybody repeat after me. Everyday shootings are everyday problems. No, that was a little weak, everybody. I need stronger than that. Everyday shootings are everyday problems. Now, make sure everybody in Washington hears us. Everyday shootings are everyday problems. My name is Trevon Bosley, and I'm here with the brave youth leaders of St. Sabina. And I'm here to speak on behalf of Chicago's youth who are surrounded and affected by gun violence every day. I'm here to speak for those youth who fear they may be shot while going to the gas station, the movies, the bus stop, to church, or even to and from school. I'm here to speak for those Chicago youth who feel their voices have been silenced for far too long. And I'm here to speak on behalf of everyone that believes a child getting shot and killed in Chicago or any other city is still a not acceptable norm. Most importantly, I'm here to speak on behalf of my brother Terrell Bosley, who was shot and killed while leaving church April 4, 2006. Just to give you guys a few stats from Chicago, since 2006, there have been more than 5,850 people shot and killed in Chicago. And since 2012, there have been more than 16,000 people shot. Now, let me repeat that one more time. Since 2006, there have been more than 5,850 people shot and killed in Chicago. And since 2012, there have been more than 16,000 people shot in Chicago. These stats are not just numbers in a speech. These are mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters on a societal proportion. These are lawyers, doctors, artists, musicians. And more than anything else, these are lives cut short due to senseless gun violence. I must add, though, Chicago's violence epidemic didn't start overnight. It was caused by many problems that we are still not dealing with to this day. When you have a city that feels it's more important to help pay for a college's sports complex rather than fund schools and impoverished communities, you have gun violence. When you have a city that feels we need more divvy bikes in downtown Chicago for tourists rather than more funding for workforce programs that get guys off the streets real jobs, you have gun violence. When you have an Illinois state governor, Bruce Rauner, who feels that funding anti-violence programs is, I quote, non-essential spending, you have gun violence. When you have elected officials who feel that getting a few extra dollars from the NRA is more important than their actual constituents, you have gun violence. And when you have a president that would rather constantly talk about and belittle Chicago's violence than rather than send funds and resources, you have gun violence. It's time for the nation to realize gun violence is more than just a Chicago problem or a Parkland problem, but it's an American problem. We are here demanding that this country, we are here demanding that we get what we as these people of this country deserve. We deserve a right to have a life of fear without fear of being gunned down. We can only live in this so often called the American dream if we have the proper gun legislation and resources to do so. And in Chicago's case, no more frivolous spending on tourist attractions, but rather we need to spend on the people that actually live there. It's time to care about all communities equally. It's time to stop judging some communities as worthy and some communities as unworthy. It's time to stop judging youth that look like me or my brother that come from impoverished communities any different than anyone else. It's time for America to notice that everyday shootings are everyday problems. I'll close with this quote by Martin Luther King Jr., which said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." I said this to say, no matter the hurdles we may face along this journey, we must remain hopeful and we must continue to stand together and fight for the lives that we deserve. Thank you.
My speech. We're good. Okay. My name is Delaney Tarr, and I'm here today because I am a Marjorie Stoneman Douglas student. However, I am not here today for the media. I'm not here for the crowds, as great as you all are, for the fame, or for the fun. I'm here on this stage today, and I'm here working every day for my 17 fellow Eagles pronounced dead because of gunfire. I am here for every person that has died at the hands of gun violence, and for the many more whose lives were irreparably changed because of it. I hope that is why we are all here. Because this is more than just a march. This is more than just one day, one event, then moving on. This is not a mere publicity stunt, a single day in the span of history. This is a movement. This is a movement relying on the persistence and the passion of its people. We cannot move on. If we move on, the NRA and those against us will win. They want us to forget. They want our voices to be silenced, and they want to retreat into the shadows where they can remain unnoticed. They want to be back on top, unquestioned in their corruption. But we cannot and we will not let that happen. Today and every day, we will continue to fight for those things that are right. We will continue to fight for common sense. We will continue to fight for our lives. We will continue to fight for our dead friends. There will be no faltering, no pauses in our cause. Every moment will be dedicated to those pieces of legislation. Every march, every meeting, every moment. All for that assault weapons ban to keep these weapons of war out of the hands of civilians who do not need them. All for the prohibition of high-capacity magazines, because no hunter will ever need access to a magazine that can kill 17 in mere minutes. All for the reinforcement of background checks and closing of loopholes, because there must be more requirement for a person to access a gun than just a wad of cash. There are so very many things, so many steps to take. Like right now, sign our petition. It takes 2 seconds, and it matters. We will take the big, and we will take the small, but we will keep fighting. When they give us that inch, that bump stock ban, we will take a mile. We are not here for breadcrumbs, we are here for real change. We are here to lead. We are here to call out every single politician, to force them into enacting this legislation, to addressing this legislation, to doing more than a simple Band-Aid on a broken bone. The pressure is on for every person in power, and it will stay that way. Because they know what is coming. They know that if there is no assault weapons ban passed, then we will vote them out. They know that if there is no tightening of the background checks, we will vote them out. They know that if there is no shrinking of magazine capacity, then we will vote them out. If they continue to ignore us, to only pretend to listen, then we will take action where it counts. We will take action every day in every way until they simply cannot ignore us anymore. Today, we march, we fight, we roar. We prepare our signs, we raise them high. We know what we want, we know how to get it, and we are not waiting any longer. Thank you.
Teachers and students, this is a lockdown drill.
Even if it's a drill, when it's brought to your home, it makes it more real.
We heard gunshots, so we started thinking it was real.
We would try to run away from the attacker or anything outside of the campus.
I start to think, what if this would happen?
It really brought the reality of the situation to us, I think.
This is my 10th one. So, but the weird thing is, it gets me every time.
This kind of emergency training should not need to happen in our schools. Since the massacre at Columbine High School, more than 150,000 students in at least 170 elementary, middle, and high schools have experienced a shooting. Too many have died, been injured, and 40% develop post-traumatic stress disorder. This senseless gun violence rains terror in our schools, on our streets, and in our homes. Every day on average, 96 Americans die, and 7 of those lives are children and teens. At least 40% of young people in cities say that they have witnessed a shooting. The presence of a gun in a domestic violence situation makes it 5 times more likely that the woman will be killed. This is an epidemic, and this is why we march. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Never again.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so excited to be here with all of you, sharing our voices so we can be heard together.
Skies are crying, I am watching, catching teardrops in my hands. Only silence as it's ending, like we never had a chance. Do you have to make me feel like there's nothing left of me? You can take everything I have, you can break everything I am, like I'm made of glass, like I'm made of paper, and go on and try to tear me down. I will be rising from the ground like a skyscraper, like a skyscraper. As the smoke moves, I awaken and untangle you from me. Would it make you feel better to watch me while I bleed? All my windows still are broken, but I'm standing on my feet. You can take everything I have, you can break everything I am, like I'm made of glass, like I'm made of paper, and go on and try to tear me down. I will be rising from the ground like a skyscraper, like a skyscraper. Oh, run, 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 I'm gonna stay right here, watch it disappear. Yeah, oh, go run, 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 it's a long way down, closer to the clouds appear. You can take everything I have, you can break everything I am, like I'm made of glass, like I'm made of glass, like I'm made of paper. Go on and try to tear me down. I will be rising from the ground like a skyscraper, like a skyscraper. Like a skyscraper. Like a skyscraper. MSD strong! Thank you.
We've had enough of the lies,
the sanctimony, the hatred, the pettiness,
the arrogance,
the ignorance,
the fake news,
the NRA.
We are done with your agenda to undermine voters' will and individual liberty in America.
We are done with your agenda to undermine the safety of our nation's youth and the individual voices of the American people.
So to every lying member of the media,
to everyone with an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association,
to the role model athletes who use their free speech to alter and undermine what our flag represents,
to every spokeswoman with an hourglass who uses their free speech to alter and undermine what our flag represents,
to the politicians who would rather watch America burn than lose 1 ounce of their own personal power,
to the politicians who would rather watch America's youth die than get assault rifles off the shelves,
to those who stain honest reporting with partisanship,
to those who call high school students paid crisis actors and refuse to listen.
Your time is running out.
Your time is running out.
The clock starts now.
The clock starts now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Chadwick, and I'm a junior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. This here, $1.05. When you take 3,140,167, the number of students enrolled in Florida schools, and divide it by 3,303,355, the amount of money Marco Rubio has received from the National Rifle Association. It comes out to $1.05. Is that all we're worth to these politicians? $1.05? Was $17.85 all it cost you that day, Mr. Rubio? Well, I say one life is worth more than all the guns in America. This is not a red versus blue issue. This is a morals issue. And to the politicians that believe that their right to own a gun comes before our lives, get ready to get voted out by us, the future. We will not allow a price to be put upon our lives. We will no longer be hunted down and treated like prey by politicians who simply just don't care about us. We are fighting. We have been fighting. We've been fighting since Columbine, since Sandy Hook, since Pulse, since Las Vegas. And we will continue to fight until we put a stop to gun violence in America. Because we are no longer a statistic in this country. We will not be treated like a statistic in this country. My school, Pulse, every other mass shooting will no longer be a statistic because we're going to put an end to those statistics and we will never stop fighting. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes. My name is Edna Lisbeth Chavez, and I am from South Los Angeles, California, el sur de Los Ángeles. senior at Manual Arts High School and a member of an organization called Community Coalition, where I am a youth leader at South Central Youth Empowered Through Action. At Community Coalition, we organize high school students to develop their leadership skills in order to push for educational justice in our communities. That's why I got involved. I wanted to impact policies and make sure our voices are heard. I am a youth leader. I am a survivor. I have lived in South LA my entire life and have lost many loved ones to gun violence. This is normal. Normal to the point that I've learned to duck from bullets before I learned how to read. My brother, he was in high school when he passed away. It was a day like any other day. Sunset going down on South Central. You hear pops thinking they're fireworks. They weren't pops. You see the melanin on your brother's skin turn gray. Ricardo was his name. Can y'all say it with me? I lost more than my brother that day. I lost my hero. I also lost my mother, my sister, and myself to that trauma and that anxiety. If the bullet did not kill me, that anxiety and that trauma will. I carry that trauma everywhere I go. I carry it with me in schools, in class, walking home, and visiting loved ones. And I am not alone in this experience. For decades, my community of South Los Angeles has become accustomed to this violence. It is normal to see candles. It is normal to see posters. It is normal to see balloons. It is normal to see flowers honoring the lives of black and brown youth that have lost their lives to a bullet. How can we cope with it when our school district has its own police department? Instead of making black and brown students feel safe, they continue to profile and criminalize us. Instead, we should have a department specializing in restorative justice. We need to tackle the root causes of the issues we face and come to an understanding on how to resolve them. I am here to honor the Florida students that lost their lives and to stand with the Parkland students. I am here today to honor Ricardo. I am here today to honor Stephen Clark. I am here today to uplift my South LA community. Enough is enough. Question: how many more children have to die so that this problem is finally acknowledged? Policymakers, listen up. Army teachers will not work. More security in our schools does not work. Zero tolerance policies do not work. They make us feel like criminals. We should feel empowered and supported in our schools. Instead of funding these policies, fund mentorship programs, mental health resources, paid internship and job opportunities. My brother, like many others, would have benefited from this. So let's make it happen. It's important to work with people that are impacted by these issues, the people you represent. We need to focus on changing the conditions that foster violence and trauma. And that's how we will transform our communities and uplift our voices. This has not and shall not stop us. It has only empowered us. Mi nombre, my name, is Edna Lisbeth Chavez. Remember my name? Remember these faces. Remember us and how we're making a change. La lucha sigue. Gracias y bendiciones.
My name is Alex Wynn. I'm a junior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. In the wake of the tragedy on February 14th, we, as students, as youths, decided that if adults weren't going to take action, we would. No gun-related legislation has been passed in this country since 2008. 10 years ago. Since 2008, there have been at least 95 mass shootings in this country, and hundreds and thousands more just senseless violence on the cities of our nation, and cities like Miami, Chicago, and Baltimore. It needs to stop. People believe that the youth of this country are insignificant. People believe that the youths have no voice. When Joan of Arc fought back English forces, she was 17 years old. When Mozart wrote his first symphony, he was 8 years old. To those people that tell us that teenagers can't do anything, I say that we were the only people that could have made this movement possible. Together, we will use our voices to make sure that our schools, churches, movie theaters, and concerts, and our streets become safer without having them feel like prisons. If teachers start packing heat, are they gonna arm our pastors, ministers, and rabbis? Are they gonna arm the guy scanning tickets at the movie theater? Are they gonna arm the person wearing the Mickey Mouse costume at Disney? This is what the National Rifle Association wants, and we will not stand for it. We would not need metal detectors and clear backpacks and more weapons in our streets if there weren't weapons of war in the hands of civilians. For too long, our government has been useless on this issue. Our job as their constituents is to make sure we know what they're thinking. There are over 250 representatives that have not come out with a public stance on this issue. It is our job to make sure that we call them up and force them out of the shadows of corruption and into the light of justice. As teens, people think that we don't like to wait around for things. and they're sometimes right. A lot of you are probably wondering, what now? Now, we need to come together on all fronts and push aside those that divide us. Now we need to get on the phone and call our representatives and push them to stop incumbency and take action. Now we need to educate ourselves on which politicians are truly working for the people and which ones we want to vote out. Because at the end of the day, bullets do not discriminate, so why should we? It is not about your race. It is not about your sexual orientation. It is not about your ethnicity. It is not about your gender. It is not about where you live or how much money you make. And it most certainly is not about political party. All it comes down to is life or death. To all the politicians out there, if you take money from the NRA, you have chosen death. If you have not expressed to your constituents a public stance on this issue, you have chosen death. If you do not stand with us by saying we need to pass common sense gun legislation, you have chosen death. And none of the millions of people marching in this country today will stop until they see those against us out of office, because we choose life. Thank you, I love you all.
97% of American voters want universal background checks for gun sales. People can buy weapons of war from the back of an SUV and no one is checking as to whether or not they have a restraining order, criminal record, or a history of violence. An estimated 22% of all gun transfers take place without a background check. In the states that go beyond federal law and require background checks for all handgun sales, there are 47% fewer women shot by intimate partners, 47% fewer suicides, and 53% fewer law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. Waiting periods work too, and new red flag laws create a way for family members and law enforcement to keep guns away from someone who shows warning signs of violence. Let's do this. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Never again.
We may not yet have reached our glory, but I will gladly join the fight. And when our children tell their story, they'll tell the story of tonight. They'll tell the story of tonight.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear you?
Well, let that lonely feeling wash away.
All we see is light.
'Cause maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand and
raise a glass to freedom, something they can never take away. No matter what they tell you,
someone will come running to take you home.
Raise a glass to all of us.
Tomorrow there'll be more of us,
telling the story of tonight.
Out of the shadows, the morning is breaking, and all is new. All is new.
It's only a matter of time. need a friend to carry you when you're broken on the ground. You will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. And when our children tell their story, you will be found. We'll tell the story of tonight. Oh, no matter what they tell you, tomorrow there'll be more of us telling the story of tonight. The story of tonight. We love you, don't give up.
Thank you. Enough is enough.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zion Kelly, and I'm a senior at Thurgood Marshall Academy here in Washington, D.C. I'm here to represent the hundreds and the hundreds of thousands of students who live every day in constant paranoia and fear on their way to and from school. At this moment, please raise your hand if you have been affected by gun violence to honor the ones you have lost. Today, I raise my hand in honor of my twin brother, Zaire Kelly. Zaire was shot on September 20th, 2017, on his way home from a competitive college counseling after-school program called College Bound. Zaire had the personality that would light up the room. He was energetic and full of dreams and aspirations. He was our team captain on the track team. He was running for student government president, and he was a youth council member. He aspired to be a forensic scientist and attend Florida A&M University for undergrad. Zaire was also the best dresser I knew with the most style. He was a person, a leader, an aspirer, not just another statistic. I was in contact with Zaire while he was walking home, texting him and calling him all through the night. About 20 to 30 minutes went by, and I became worried because the walk alone doesn't even take 30 minutes. I left my room to ask my mom where he was, until I saw flashing blue and red lights outside my window. I told my parents that there were police cars and an ambulance on our street. We rushed outside, discovering that it was Zaire. That night, on September 20th, a robber with a gun was lurking on my streets for hours. On my walk home, he attempted to rob me, but I ran. Though he had an ankle monitor on, and he was supposed to be monitored by the police, he was still able to obtain a gun illegally and lurk in my streets and take my brother's life. He shot my brother in the head. Once we arrived to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. From the time we were born, we shared everything, including issues. I spent time with him every day, because we went to the same school, shared the same friends, and we even shared the same room. Can you imagine how it would be to lose someone that close to you? Sadly, too many of my friends and peers can. This school year alone, my school lost 2 students to senseless gun violence, Paris Brown and my brother Zaire Kelly. This year alone, in January, there were 6 students killed under the age of 19 by guns here in Washington, D.C. In my brother's name, my family is proposing the Zaire Kelly Public Safety Zone Amendments Act of 2018. This act aims to create safe passage zones for students to and from schools and other activities by expanding the definition of a student. With this amendment, a student will be defined by any person enrolled in a public and private daycare center, elementary school, vocational school, secondary school, a college, junior college, or university. It expands gun-free zones to include recreation centers. This amendment means that every student in Washington, D.C. will carry the protection of my brother's name, ensuring safety as they travel to and from school in our city. My name is Zion Kelly, and just like all of you, I have had enough.
First off, I'm going to start off by putting this price tag right here as a reminder for you guys to know how much Marco Rubio took for every student's life in Florida. $1.05. Okay. The cold grasp of corruption shackles the District of Columbia. The winter is over. Change is here. The sun shines on a new day, and the day is ours. For the first-time voters show up 18% of the time at midterm elections. Not anymore. Now, who here is going to vote in the 2018 election? If you listen real close, you can hear the people in power shaking. They've gotten used to being protective of their position, choosing the safety of inaction. Inaction is no longer safe, and to that we say, no more. 96 people die every day from guns in our country, yet most representatives have no public stance on guns. And to that, we say, no more. We are going to make this the voting issue. We're going to take this to every election, to every state and every city. We're going to make sure the best people get in our elections to run, not as politicians, but as Americans. Because this is not cutting it. When people try to suppress your vote, and there are people who stand against you because you are too young, we say no more. When politicians say that your voice doesn't matter because the NRA owns them, we say no more. When politicians send their thoughts and prayers with no action, we say no more. And to those politicians supported by the NRA that allow the continued slaughter of our children and our future, I say get your resumes ready. Today is the beginning of spring, and tomorrow is the beginning of democracy. Now is the time to come together, not as Democrats, not as Republicans, but as Americans. Americans of the same flesh and blood that care about one thing and one thing only, and that's the future of this country and the children that are going to lead it. Now, they will try to separate us in demographics. They will try to separate us by religion, race, congressional district, and class. They will fail. We will come together. We will get rid of these public servants that only serve the gun lobby. And we will save lives. You are those heroes. Lastly, let's put the USA over the NRA. This is the start of the spring and the blossoming of our democracy. So let's take this to our local legislators, and let's take this to midterm elections, because without the persistent heat, without the persistence of voters and Americans everywhere getting out to every election, democracy will not flourish, but it can and it will. So I say to those politicians that say change will not come, I say we will not stop until every man, every woman, every child, and every American can live without fear of gun violence. And to that I say, no more. Thank you, I love you all. God bless all of you, and God bless America. We can and we will change the world.
Hi. My name is Naomi, and I'm 11 years old. Me and my friend Carter led a walkout at our elementary school on the 14th. We walked out for 18 minutes, adding a minute to honor Cortland Arrington, an African-American girl who was the victim of gun violence in her school in Alabama after the Parkland shooting. I am here today to represent Cortland Arrington. I am here today to represent Hadia Pendleton. I am here today to represent Tiana Thompson, who at just 16 was shot dead in her home here in Washington, D.C. I am here today to acknowledge and represent the African-American girls whose stories don't make the front page of every national newspaper. Whose stories don't lead on the evening news. I represent the African-American women who are victims of gun violence, who are simply statistics instead of vibrant, beautiful girls that full of potential. It is my privilege to be here today. I am indeed full of privilege. My voice has been heard. I am here to acknowledge their stories, to say they matter, to say their names, because I can, and I was asked to be. For far too long, these names, these black girls and women, have been just numbers. I'm here to say never again for those girls too. I am here to say that everyone should value those girls too. People have said that I am too young to have these thoughts on my own. People have said that I am a tool of some nameless adult. It's not true. My friends and I might still be 11, and we might still be in elementary school, but we know life isn't equal for everyone, and we know what is right and wrong. We also know that we stand in the shadow of the Capitol, and we know that we have 7 short years until we too have the right to vote. So I am here today to honor the words of Toni Morrison. If there is a book that you want to read but it hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it. I urge everyone here and everyone who hears my voice to join me in telling the stories that aren't told. To honor the girls, the women of color who were murdered at disproportionate rates in this nation. I urge each of you to help me write the narrative for this world and understand so that these girls and women are never forgotten. Thank you.
Look, it's really hard to get your driver's license, adopt a pet, or get a credit card. But if you're 18 and you want to go out and buy an AR-15 in too many states, that's no problem. Go to a gun show in about 32 states, and you can have one in about 1 hour. We can't even buy a beer until we're 21. That makes no sense. These semi-automatic weapons were designed for war, not to hunt or shoot clays. They aren't cool toys. They're designed to kill people. 11 mass shootings were committed by men 21 and under. Many used handguns with huge rounds of ammo, and 2 used an AR-15. By raising the buying age to 21, we might have saved those lives. Enough is enough. It is time for a change. Never again.
I'm Maya, and I'm 16 years old, and I'm in a creative writing program through After School Matters in Chicago. I just want to take this time and personally thank all of you for coming out here and letting me share this amazing opportunity with you guys. Thank you so much. I'm here because I have been personally affected by the lack of gun control, and I believe guns have taken over the minds of individuals who want an easy way out of their dilemma. Chicago goes through this every day, and you don't realize how much of a toll it is taking on our city until you see it in our communities. You see it on someone you know. You see it on someone like me. Freshman year in high school, I wanted to get some things for the store for my mom because she was sick. I remember pulling on all these clothes and going out in 10 or so degree weather. It was so cold. Get to the store, grabbing all this stuff, thinking maybe she needs this, maybe she needs that, and finally getting into line. This guy in front of me all of a sudden gets upset because he didn't have enough money to pay for the things that he wanted to buy. He gets out of line and starts trashing the store, throwing everything over the floor, pushing carts, just making a fool out of himself. So finally, when I check out, I walk to the door and I'm ready to go when I hear a scream and a bang. I turn around and see he's grabbing all this stuff, pushing it into every crevice of his body, trying to grab as much as he can. When he finally turns to me, he comes towards me and I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk, I couldn't think. All I remember is seeing dark jeans coming towards me. He pulls out this silver pistol and points it in my face and said these words that to this day haunt me and give me nightmares. He said, "If you said anything, I will find you." And yet I'm still saying something today. Guns have long scared our children, corrupted our adults, and publicly silenced our government. Guns have become the voice of America, and the government is becoming more negligent by this predicament by the day. Join me in sharing my pain and my anger. Help us by screaming to the government that we are tired of crying for help to a group of people that have turned their backs on us, despite their reassurance of making our country safer. Help us by screaming as loud as you can that we're tired of being forced under the rug. We're tired of seeing the faces of victims exposed on screens who was stolen from us too fast to even understand what and why it happened. Help us by sharing our stories to those who turned a blind eye and became deaf to our pleas for control. Help us by honoring those who will never have a chance to contribute the turn of our nation. Help us by vociferating the voices of those who are too oppressed to even speak for themselves. Together, we can make sure that what happened to me, the students in Parkland, and to the individuals who stand here now does not repeat itself to other people. We deserve safer schools, safer classrooms, safer streets, and a safer place for us to learn and survive. We deserve better because I believe that we are the future. And we must act upon this civil inflicted war while we still can. The new generation depends on our actions, and we must deliver them effectively and as one. We are the turn of this century. We are the voice for change. We are the pieces to fix what America is falling short on. Make it happen.
This song is dedicated to Stephon Clark, to Cynthia Clements, and all the unarmed black men and women killed by police weapons. Until all of us are free, none of us will be free.
If we only knew we were slaves to the pains of each other, one thing I believe I could learn, to see my enemy as my brother. We could be free, truly, and love could wash away all the sorrow. I'm not afraid to bleed if it means we make a better today, not tomorrow. One day I dream of telling my mama, you ain't gotta work no more. Same for my father, born in Ghana, down on that dirt road floor. Far as he came, I can't complain. Pain is so subjective, spend so much time counting issues. I forget to count my blessings. Watch my cousins back at home, getting water out of well, while I watch my brothers stacking stone, whipping water by the scale, trying to get a meal. On the other side, they ain't got a meal. We don't recognize we in heaven, so we think it's hell. It's been getting kinda hard for me to tell. Sometimes I wake up and I look up in the sky, asking why I'm alive when so many brothers died. But my pride won't let me give up, Lord, as hard as I try. In those times I try to remember that we could be free. Yeah. If we only knew we were slaves to the pains of each other. One thing I believe, if I could learn to see my enemy as my brother, we could be free, truly, and love could wash away all the sorrow. I'm not afraid to bleed if it means we make a better today, not tomorrow. I don't wanna wait for the afterlife. I don't wanna vigil by candlelight. I don't wanna be the new sacrifice. I don't wanna turn into a poltergeist, be a ghost at night full of broken dreams. Mama crying at an open casket, cold as ice. Suit 3 pieces, all dressed up for Sunday masses. Pastors say put faith in God, but faith alone can't make things right. Politicians send thoughts and prayers, but thoughts and prayers can't save our lives.
Parkland and Baton Rouge. Police shootings in the schools. Wow, I feel like Jada Kiss every time I watch the news. What the fuck I got to lose? So I'm down to bleed if it means things improve. Fools saying all lives matter, but these kids' lives they refuse to include. Blocked from the polls, locked in the hood where the cops keep flowing and blood keeps flowing and Congress keeps on doing nothing.
Sometimes I wake up and I look up in the sky, asking why I survived all the days that I could have died. Who am I in my place to contemplate suicide? In those times I try to remember we could be free, truly, if we knew we were slaves to the pains of each other. One thing I believe, if I could learn to see my enemy as my brother, we could be free, we could be free, and love could wash away all the sorrow. I'm not afraid to bleed, I'm not afraid to bleed. If it makes a better today, not tomorrow. Somebody make my enemy my brother. We'll make it better today, not tomorrow.
Thank you. My name is Vic Mensa. Y'all killed it.
Good afternoon. I'm joined by Brenna Levitan, Michael Solomon, and Nate Tinbite, founding members of MoCo for Gun Control. My name is Matt Post. I'm a 12th grader and the student member of the board for Montgomery County, Maryland. You and I gather in a time of moral crisis for our country. We stand at a moment when our nation's laws are not guided by what is right or wrong, not by what is morally sound for the many, but instead is limited by the insatiable greed of a few. In their greed, the gun lobby and their politicians have tried to deflect and distract us. They've tried to twist what is so clearly a gun issue into anything else. But we won't fall for it. We know that to only focus on school safety instead of American safety is to dismiss the thousands of tragedies in between the massacres. It ignores the people, disproportionately people of color, who die by bullet without even making a headline. Yet our politicians still lack the compassion to act. And when that cold inaction that continues to fuel this endless bloodshed churns and churns, it's not difficult to diagnose the moral health problem of this country. Our nation's politics are sick with soullessness, but make no mistake, we are the cure. Where they choose incrementalism, we choose real change. Where they embrace an extremism of complacency, we embrace an extremism of love. Where they believe in the absolutism of an amendment, we believe in the absolutism of human life. It won't be easy to change things. The immoral, the obstructionists, and the complicit are already lining up to block our path. We're gonna have some courage to fix this. It's gonna take some will. So let me ask, is there a will to keep weapons of war off our streets? Is there a will to break the stranglehold of the NRA? Is there a will to bring morality to this country's politics? Then stand up, speak up, register to vote. If we sustain our efforts, if we keep our heads unbowed, who can stop us? If we march today, canvass tomorrow, and vote 227 days from now, we will make this a turning point for our country. And we, the new diverse, inclusive, and compassionate face of America, will lead this country once again down the path of righteousness. Thank you.
In the days following the shooting, many students expressed their frustration about one group, the NRA. Dana Lesh is the national spokesperson for the NRA. She is here with us.
They use their media to assassinate real news.
The left has their rigid, radical, anti-gun agenda.
I'm so sick of these elitists looking down on gun owners as if we're just a bunch of rednecks who don't deserve the right to protect and defend ourselves.
They use their schools to teach children that their president is another Hitler.
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. If you try to take our firearms, doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them.
They use their movie stars and singers and comedy shows and award shows to repeat their narrative over and over again.
What matters is who the enemy is. They're the no-gun people, period.
Listen up. You might have met our fresh-faced flower child president and his weak-kneed Ivy League friends.
Hey, Obama, you might want to suck on one of these, you punk!
The only truly free people who have ever walked this earth have been armed people.
They use their ex-president to endorse the resistance, all to make them march, make them protest, make them scream racism and sexism and xenophobia and homophobia, to smash windows, burn cars, shut down interstates and airports, bully and terrorize the law-abiding.
We see what it's like to be French, German, or Belgian, where innocent people cower in fear as evil closes in, doomed to defend their families with rolling pins and broom handles.
The only way we stop this, the only way we save our country and our freedom is to fight this violence of lies with the clenched fist of truth.
From my cold, dead hands.
The people who say those words to understand one thing. It won't be their hands who end up cold, and it won't be their hands who end up dead. It's ours. The young people of this country. Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Underwood, and I'm 11 years old and a 6th grader at Eagle Academy at Ocean Hill, Brooklyn, New York. I am also a junior ambassador for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. On June 27, 2012, my 14-year-old brother, Akil Christopher, was shot while walking home from a high school graduation party at his friend's house. My brother survived for 14 days and died on his 15th birthday, July 10, 2012. At that time, I was only 5 years old. Since this gun violence took away my childhood, and nothing in my life was ever the same because I no longer have my best friend. Losing my brother gave me the courage to be a voice for my generation. I turned my pain and anger and turned it into action. And started speaking out for Akil, especially for the siblings who have lost their brothers and sisters, and for other children whose voices aren't heard but feel the painful effects of gun violence. I have watched for years as gun violence continues to take a toll on communities across the country. For me, I would like to not worry about dying and focus on math and science and playing basketball with my friends. Don't I deserve to go up? On April 4th, we will remember Martin Luther King Jr. on his 50th anniversary of his death. What we sometimes forget is that he himself was a victim of gun violence. I would like to finish my speech today by honoring Martin Luther King Jr. by remembering his words, which are all as true today as when he was alive. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter, and our lives matter." Thank you.
My name is Jacqueline Corin, and I am proud to say that Parkland is my home. Parkland is the heart of this movement. But just as a heart needs blood to pump, my hometown needs the alliance of other communities to properly spread this message. We openly recognize that we are privileged individuals and would not have received as much attention if we weren't for the affluence of our city. Because of that, however, we share the stage today and forever with those who have always stared down the barrel of a gun. This issue is undoubtedly an epidemic that affects communities of all classes, an epidemic that the Center for Disease Control does not have the funds to research. This disease continues to spread, even though we have discovered the cure. But our government officials close their ears because it involves change, a change that does not align with their own agenda. That is why Parkland cannot and will not do this alone. There is strength in numbers, and we need each and every one of you to keep screaming at your own congressman. Don't be scared just because they have senator in front of their name. Our elected officials have seen American after American drop from a bullet. And instead of waking up to protect us, they have been hitting the snooze button. But we're here to shake them awake. Each congressman has a local office in their district, so pay them a visit or organize a town hall. They'll be home for the next 2 weeks for congressional recess. Have them hear you out because they work for us. And if they still won't meet with you, remind them that you invited their opponent, because we all know they'll show up then. We cannot keep America great if we cannot keep America safe. And 96 deaths by firearm every day is not what I would call great. Our First Amendment right is our weapon of war in this, a weapon that should be on our streets, a weapon that cannot kill but can heal. Love will always outweigh the hate, as the universe is on the side of justice. So I need each and every one of you, no matter your age, to continue to fight alongside us, because hearts cannot pump without blood, and I don't want your community to join the ghastly inner circle that mine is now a part of. In the end, we are all fighting for our lives. But we are a great generation, and we'll be the ones to make America safe. Thank you. I actually have a special guest for you guys, so I'm gonna come bring her up.
Renee King, granddaughter of
children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream that enough is enough. And that this should be a gun-free world, period. Will you please repeat these words after me? Spread the word! Have you heard? All across the nation. We are going to be a great generation. Now I'd like you to say it like you really, really mean it. Spread the word! Have you heard? All across the nation. We are going to be a great generation. Now I'd like you to say it like you really, really mean it, and the whole entire world can hear you. Spread the word! Have you heard? All across the nation. We are going to be a great generation. Now give yourselves a hand.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming of. There's a voice inside my head saying we'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking and every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head high, 'cause there's always gonna be another mountain. Always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle, and sometimes you're gonna have to lose. It ain't about how fast I get there. It ain't about always waiting on the other side. The climb. Sing along, everybody. The struggles I'm facing, you know the word. The chances I'm taking, they sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking, and I may not know it, but these are the moments that we're gonna remember most. Yeah, we just gotta keep going. And I got to be strong. We'll just keep pushing on. That's right. 'Cause there's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. There's always gonna be an uphill battle, and sometimes you're gonna have to lose. It ain't about how fast I get there. It ain't about always waiting on the other side. It's a climb. This song has never felt more special. I love hearing you all singing along with me. Oh yeah. You all are so beautiful and have such beautiful voices. And lucky to be in the presence of all of you wonderful people fighting for what is right. Love you all so much. Thank you.
Since 2007, often the weapon of choice for mass shooters is the AR-15 and similar variants. In 2012, one was used to kill 12 people in a movie theater in Colorado, and 20 elementary school children and 6 teachers. In 2015, one took 14 lives in California. In 2017, one contributed to the deaths of 58 concertgoers in Las Vegas and 26 churchgoers in Texas, and last month, 14 students and 3 teachers in Florida. None of these deaths should have happened. From 1994 until 2004, we banned assault weapons like the AR-15. During that decade, there were 12 gun massacres with 89 deaths. In the 10 years after our leaders in Washington failed to extend it, the numbers climbed to 34 mass shootings with 302 lives lost. Assault weapons are an assault on our future. Nearly 70% of the country supports another ban. Let's get AR-15s and all assault weapons off the street. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Never again.
I'd like to take it down for a minute here. There might be musicians on this stage, but this is not Coachella. We might have movie stars in the crowd. We might have videos on these screens, but this is not the Oscars. And I don't know if you've been looking, but I don't see any Macy's Day balloons out there. This is real life. This is reality. This is what's happening in our country and around the world today. I'd like to make it real for a minute. February 14th is my sister's birthday. She had to spend that birthday huddled under a desk, holding Lauren Hogg, David's sister, her hand, hoping that she was going to make it home that day. She was premature. She didn't know if she was going to make it at the beginning of her life, and she didn't know if she was going to make it home that day this year. She might have not stared down the shooter's eyes. She might have not even seen him or even known who he was. But he affected her life just as much as everybody else who's spoken on this stage today. And I know a lot of people are out there saying that we need to make America safe again. And I know that we can't. We cannot make America safe again until we arm our teachers. We need to arm our teachers. We need to arm them with pencils, pens, paper, and the money they need. They need that money to support their families and to support themselves before they can support the futures in those classrooms, to support the future that sits down at that desk waiting to learn. And we need to arm our students too. We need to arm them with the facts and the knowledge and the education they need to live in the real world, not just some fantasy, not just something painted out there by the public, by the media. We need them to be armed, and there's only one way to do that. This right here, this connects you to the whole of human information, the whole of human knowledge. It connects you with the click of a button. You can learn anything that I've learned, anything that we've all learned in our journey to this stage right here today. You can learn it just like that. Just go to a website, type it in, and it's there. I've been amazed by what I've seen. I'm amazed that I cannot see the end of this crowd here in DC today. I've been amazed by all of the walkouts that have been taking place over the past 5 weeks. And these walkouts have been criticized. They've been told that it is a disruption to the educational process. And I say to them, the real disruption to the educational process is staring down the barrel of a gun. It's the fact that you can be taking a calculus exam, and then when you're doing that, you have in the back of your head the thought that where's the shooter gonna enter? When's he gonna come in? Where can I hide? We're done hiding. We're done being afraid. We're done being full of fear because it is a waste of our time and it is not living out what our forefathers, what our founding fathers envisioned for this country. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And now I know we march today, but this isn't over. This is the beginning of the end, and from here, we fight. It is time to fight for our lives. And I say there's only one way to do that. We need to rev up society. We need to rev up the engines. We need to rev up America. And we do that through registering to vote. We need to do that through every single walkout. We will be making sure that you can register to vote, pre-register to vote. Then we will educate. We will be going around the country until these elections and therefore after, until we can tell every man, woman, and child in this country what is real, what is going on. And we need to make sure that everyone knows what is actually happening in their backyard and abroad. So we will register, we will educate, and then when it comes down to it, we will vote. They might preach NRA, they might preach GUN, but we're preaching REV. Register, educate, vote. Thank you, and hello, Uncle Myron.
My name is Alea Eastman, and I am a Parkland survivor. I was in room 1214 studying Holocaust history when bullets started flying in, and I was the third classroom. Today, one of my fellow fallen eagles named Nicholas Doret, it would have been his 18th birthday today, and I dedicate my march to him. But I'm not only here to speak about school shootings. I'm here to speak for the urban communities that have been speaking out about this way before February 14, 2018. Their voices are just as important as ours, and they need to be heard. This is a very important subject, and it needs to change. Although it's been 38 days since the Parkland shooting, nothing has changed, and we need change now. This cannot happen again, and it's going to continue to happen again until we get change. How many more do we need? How many more do we need in schools? How many more do we need in the streets? We need change now, not only in schools, but in urban communities as well. All of our lives are important, and all of our stories need to be heard, no matter what color you are, what school you go to, what neighborhood you live in. 15 years ago, I lost my Uncle Patrick to gun violence in Brooklyn, New York. My mother almost lost her daughter to the same gun violence in Parkland, Florida. This needs to change. We've been fighting for this way too long, and nothing has changed, and we need change now. Yes, I am a Parkland survivor and an MSD student, but before this, I was a regular black girl, and after this, I am still black and I am still regular, and I will fight for all of us.
beautiful people of America. It is a great day to be here. It is a great day to see all of you here, and I am proud of each and every one of you. And the truth is, I am not here for me. I am here for you. So you don't ever have to fear of getting shot in your own classroom. You don't ever have to wonder if you'll have to see your best friend die next to you. You don't ever have to worry about going into a Holocaust history class to learn about death and then experience it right before your eyes. And this is why, oh my God. And this is why this piece is called Enough. Never did I think I would be herded like cattle by a shower of bullets that left me scarred and rattled, forced to huddle among those who lost their last living breaths on a day that was designated for loves and laughs. I never got to say goodbye. I could barely see out my eyes because I was crying tears and blood at the same time. Barricaded behind those filing cabinets and bookcases that day taught me one thing, and one thing only. Regardless of how much money you pay or how much you pray, if you don't change anything today, your children will no longer stay. So when do we say enough is enough? Day in and day out, our kids are getting shot up. And the moment we speak up, we're scolded that we are not old enough. It is as if we need permission to ask our friends not to die. Lawmakers and politicians will scream guns are not the issue, but can't look me in the eye. I just threw up on international television, and it feels great. We're not asking for a ban, we're asking for compromise. Forget your sides and colors, let's save one another. Use efficient regulation that doesn't make any exception. Close the cracks and loopholes with thorough background checks and psychological evaluation. Protect our schools like we do our other government establishments. Use security protocol and methods that are efficient. And one more request, listen. Our mission is simple, and our ambitions are unbeatable. Let's keep the guns out of the hands of the wrong people and keep them in the hands of the safe and reasonable. So either you can join us or be on the side of history who prioritize their guns over the lives of others. The only way we can do this is in numbers. Let's have our lawmakers reflect our views and address our struggles. Let's stand. Unite with one another. We the people still stands true, so now America, you will have to choose. Will you give up, or is enough enough? And I have one more request. Today is March 24th, March for Our Lives, but it is also the birthday of Nick Duarte, someone that I was senselessly murdered in front of me. Today is his birthday. I would like to sing together, Happy Birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
I served in the U.S. Army.
I served in the Navy.
Air Force. Marine Corps. Hoorah.
I was a 31 Bravo military police officer.
Security Forces. 82nd Airborne.
Radio operator.
SEAL Team 1.
I was stationed at Camp Anaconda in Iraq.
In Afghanistan.
Vietnam.
My service weapon was an M4 assault rifle.
My service weapon was an M16.
It's basically the same. You know what? It is the same.
As the AR-15.
Same weapon that's killed hundreds of people in the deadliest mass shootings in America.
I know the power of this weapon firsthand.
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 And there is no reason.
No reason.
No reason.
Why anyone other than military and law enforcement should have an assault weapon like this.
I fought for this country.
I believe in the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms.
But that was created 200 years ago.
Guns have changed a lot since then.
High-powered, rapid-fire assault rifles like the AR-15 are meant for one thing.
One thing.
One thing.
That's not something I want in my country.
My name is Corporal Aiken.
My name is Specialist LaHaye.
Petty Officer, Second Class Day.
Corporal Williams.
Sergeant Yen.
Airman Batesel.
Staff Sergeant Houseman.
Corporal Henderson.
Staff Sergeant Sayson.
Corporal De Jesus.
Specialist Delta.
Captain Bernier.
Senior Airman Rice.
Specialist Parker.
Petty Officer Williams.
My name is Sergeant Bell, and I support the ban on military-style assault rifles and safer gun laws in this country.
But day and night is so close, so don't you worry about a thing. We're gonna be alright. Let's go! Hey, yeah. Woo. We're gonna be alright. Hey, hey. Oh, ooh, yeah, baby, don't you know all of them days gonna come and go? Maybe you just gotta make up your mind. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Baby, don't you know all of them days gonna come and go? Baby, you just gotta make up your mind. We decided, let's go, alright. Know that we gon' be alright. Know that we gon' be alright. Know that we gon' be alright. We're gonna be alright, baby. Let's go. Slow motion can't seem to get where we're going, but the hard times are golden, 'cause they all lead to better days. Let's go, come on. Alright, know that we gon' be alright. Know that we gon' be alright. Know that we gon' be alright. We're gonna be alright, boy. We're gonna be alright. We're gonna be alright. We're gonna be alright. Baby, don't you know all of them tears gonna come and go? Maybe you just gotta make up your mind. It's gonna be alright, baby. All of them tears gonna come and go, yeah. Let's go. What you telling me? Here you go. Know that we gon' be alright. Know that we gon' be alright. Know that we gon' be alright, yeah. We're gonna be alright. 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 Thank you guys so much. This is for these brilliant students here today that are leading this march, and to everybody participating. Thank you so much for fighting for change and for love and safety and for our future. I love y'all so much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, family. Yes, I said family. I said family because we are here joined together in unity fighting for the same goals. I say family because of all the pain that I see in the crowd. And that pain is another reason why we are here. Our pain makes us family. Us hurting together brings us closer together to fight for something better. My name is Alex King. I'm 17. I am a senior at North Lundale College Prep. As well as a peace warrior and a leader with Good Kids Mad City. Chicago has been at the forefront of gun violence for a very long time, with 650 people being murdered in the year of 2017 and 771 being murdered in the year of 2016. But that's not it. Gun violence travels in places like Florida, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles. It happens nationwide. I know many people who have lost loved ones, friends and family on a regular basis due to gun violence. My nephew, Deshaun Moore, he was taken away on May 28th in the year of 2017, 2 weeks after his 16th birthday. The day I lost my nephew was a huge turning point in my life. I started doing a lot of bad things, hanging around a bad crowd. I started to really give up. But there's this principle by Dr. King, and it states, the beloved community is the framework for the future. And what that means is, how our community is now is how it will be affected in the future if we don't make a change. If we aren't acting like a family now, we won't act like a family in the future. If pain is in our community now, pain will forever be in our community in the future if we don't make a change. Our community has been affected by gun violence for so long and will continue to be affected by it if we don't do something. But through my friends and colleagues, I found help to come up out of a dark place. Everyone doesn't have the same resources and support system as I was lucky to have. Myself and a few other peace warriors were able to take a trip to visit Parkland students and share our trauma with one another. We left not only knowing that we would support one another, but also realizing that without the proper grassroots resources, this issue of violence will not be solved, and we will not stop until we are properly resourced in our communities. So family, let's continue to fight for what's right. And since we are a family now, I would like to pass on one of the traditions that me and my family does at North Lundale College Prep. So as I do this, I will ask that you follow me after I say repeat after me. So it's this African clap that we do at North Lundale that shows unity, which is unity is strength. Look at the numbers here in the crowd today. Do you see this? So here's how it goes. First, I would say one, and that's just a simple clap. So when I say one, it's like this, one, 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 one. Okay. Now, next, I would say four, and how that works is 2 sets of 2. So when I say 4, it goes like this. 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. And now, here's the tricky part. Now we're gonna do 10, which is 2 sets of 3 and 2 sets of 2. So how this goes is when I say 10, it goes like this. 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now y'all think we could do this as a family? All right, that's what I like to hear. Let's go. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 10, I love y'all.
One, 4, 4, 10. For we are survivors. Let me say that again for you. For we are survivors. We are survivors of a cruel and silent nation. A nation where freedom, justice, equality, and purpose is not upheld. A nation where we do not live out the true meanings of our creed. When will we as a nation understand that nonviolence is the way of life for courageous people? When will we as a nation understand that we are not here to fight against one another, but we are here to fight for life and peace? Dr. King once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Which now leads me to say that violence cannot drive out violence. Only peace can do that. Poverty cannot drive out poverty. Only resources can do that. Death cannot drive out death. Only proactive life can do that. As I stand before you, I stand as D'Angelo McDade, an 18-year-old from the west side of Chicago. I too am a victim, a survivor, and a victor of gun violence. I come from a place where minorities are controlled by both violence and poverty, leading us to be deterred by success. But today we say no more. I stand before you, representing the body of those who have experienced and lost their lives due to gun violence. For we are survivors. For I am a survivor. For we are survivors not only of gun violence, but of silence. For we are survivors of the erratic productions of poverty. But not only that, we are the survivors of unjust policies and practices upheld by our Senate. We are survivors of lack of resources within our schools. We are survivors of social, emotional, and physical harm. Dr. King had a dream that we as youth must now make our reality. Ephesians 4:2-3 says, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with love. Make every count. Keep its unity of the Spirit through peace and love." For 1 Peter says in chapter 4, verse 8, "Above all," you ain't hearing me. It says above all, love each other deeply because love covers all wrongdoing. And for as we, let me hear you say we. Let me hear you say we. As youth must now be the change that we see. My mother has this phrase that she used all the time, and she told me before I left home to come deal with this. She says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I stand for peace.
Hello, my name is Matthew Soto, and at the age of 15, I sat in my high school Spanish class while my sister Victoria Soto was being slaughtered in her first grade classroom in Newtown, Connecticut. On December 14th, Vicky went into school to make gingerbread houses with her first grade students before their holiday break. How many of you can remember doing that? The anticipation of having to wait all week to have to be on your best behavior, but that was cut short. They didn't get to make gingerbread houses because gunfire rang out in the hallway. Too many times has gunfire been ringing out in the hallways of schools across this country. Too many schools, too many churches, too many movie theaters, too many neighborhoods, too many homes. Enough is enough. We do not have to wait for others to make us safe. We need to do it ourselves. America, I am pleading with you to realize this is not okay. We do not have to live like this. To my fellow students, it is our time to stand up. Register to vote, bring power to the polls, and show those that say that our lives are not more important than a gun, that we are important, that we matter. Get involved in your community, because change, no matter how small, is change. Many of the students that were in 4th grade when my sister was murdered are now freshmen in high school. 5 years ago this happened. 5 years ago, and no change has come. Today, over 400 students, teachers, and parents of Newtown families are here marching with us today. Today, we are presenting a banner to the Parkland community from the Newtown community. We know your pain, we know what you are going through, and we are inspired by your fight for change. We need to use our voices because we cannot change the past, but we can only fight to change and build a better future.
My name is Tommy Murray. I'm a junior at Newtown High School. I live in Sandy Hook, and I attended the Sandy Hook Elementary School when I was in 1st grade to 4th grade. I was in 6th grade on lockdown for hours and hours when my neighbor shot his mother in her bed, then gunned down 20 children and 6 of our educators, including my principal, Don Hawksprung. It was one of the worst days of my life. Since then, I have attended vigils, I have protested in front of the gun lobby in our town, I have sent letters to Congress, I traveled to DC to meet with Congress to beg them to do something to stop gun violence, but they did nothing. They didn't ban assault weapons or pass universal background check bills, and now the entire Parkland community is shattered, the way our town was after the massacre in my elementary school. We are here to support the Stoneman Douglas students. We want to tell you to keep fighting as hard as you can. Your voices are so important. Your stories have truly changed the hearts and minds, and together, our stories will create the change that we need. If these mass shootings can happen in Newtown and Parkland, then they can happen anywhere. Connecticut passed strong gun laws after Sandy Hook, and Congress should do the same. Let's stand together to demand change. We will march with you. We will walk out with you. We will vote with you. We will end gun violence in our country, and we will honor with action.
My name is Jackson Middleman, and I'm also a junior at Newtown High School. Tommy and I lead a gun violence prevention group that has been rallying since we were 11 years old to end gun violence in America. I was also on lockdown for 5 hours on 12/14/12, the worst day of my life. The Sandy Hook mass shooting should have been the last one in our nation, but there are more and more every single day. And that's why Newtown says enough, and we say never again. We have worked incredibly hard for the last 5 years to protect other communities, but apparently Sandy Hook was not enough for America to make the changes. But after Parkland, we feel hope. You have inspired millions of students and adults all around the world. We want to thank the Parkland students, and we want to let them know that Newtown High School students stand with them. Long after the media trucks leave, we will stand by you during your healing and recovery. We are forever connected by a tragedy that could have been prevented if our lawmakers had the courage to enact smart gun legislation. It touched our hearts when Columbine High School sent us a banner with their message of love and hope, and we hope our message from Newtown High School will help you through your darkest days. And before we finish, I have a message. Mr. Trump, Congress, the Senate, and all elected leaders of America, you have failed us. And we have had enough of your NRA agenda. I'm calling out those who have taken money from the NRA. You better bring that check to the bank and put it in your retirement fund, because we're gonna vote you out. And now I'd like to introduce a Newtown and Parkland demand for change. Newtown wants change. Parkland wants change. The world wants change. Give it to us now.
My journey as an activist began just like many of you here. I witnessed injustice and violence in my community, and I spoke out. Today, you march because you too are witnesses to Stoneman Douglas, to Sandy Hook, to Virginia Tech, and to Columbine. To every friend, parent, sister, or brother who lost a loved one, my heart is with you. And though I can't be there with you today, I stand with you. I already talked to some of the students who organized this march today. Now, I want to talk to the rest of you, to everyone listening today. I hope that you will ask these student leaders how you can help them. They need other students, teachers, parents, and leaders to work together to end gun violence in schools. Whatever your politics, I know that no one wants another child to witness what these children have seen. Thank you.
And we are survivors from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and we also wrote the song Shine.
This song is not only dedicated to the 17 and 14 injured, the 17 victims that we lost. It's dedicated to all their friends and family, and to anyone who's ever experienced gun violence.
Together, we are going to be the change. We are going to change the world. Thank you. You threw my city away. You tore down the walls and opened up all the gates.
You ruined this town. You burned all of the bridges and you slowly let us drown.
But you're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger. And we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have dark, but together we will shine the light, and whoa, we will be something special. Whoa, we're gonna shine.
We're gonna stand tall, gonna raise up our voices so we'll never ever fall.
We're done with all your little games. We're tired of hearing that we're too young to ever make a change. 'Cause you're not gonna knock us down, we'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger, and we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine a light, and whoa, we're gonna shine. We can hug a little tighter, we can love a little more, laugh a little harder, we can stand up and roar. If we all come together, it will be alright. Stand up for one another, and we'll never give up the fight.
We refuse to be ignored by those who will not listen.
We deserve to feel safe in our own schools.
The time for change is now.
The smallest of words can make the biggest difference.
Be the voice for those who don't have one.
Together, we have the power to change the world around us.
You're not gonna knock us down, we'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger, and we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine a light. You're not gonna knock us down, we'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger, and we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine a light. Whoa, we will be something special. Whoa, we will shine. Thank you.
Thank you.
To all the people who are telling us to shut up, be quiet, wait your turn, we call BS. There are about 31 million young people between the ages of 19 and 25. If we all register to vote at 18 and show up on election day, then we can make the change we call for today. Common sense measures work. Let's make background checks universal. Stop the pipeline of illegal guns to our streets. Raise the age of buying a gun and save lives. Let's make waiting periods real and stop the epidemic of nearly 22,000 suicides per year and ban assault weapons that have no place in civilian hands. We are in the march for our lives, and we won't stop until we make this country safer. The adults had their chance. Now it's our turn. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Never again.
Six minutes and about 20 seconds. In a little over 6 minutes, 17 of our friends were taken from us, 15 were injured, and everyone, absolutely everyone, in the Douglas community was forever altered. Everyone who is there understands. Everyone who has been touched by the cold grip of gun violence understands. For us, long, tearful, chaotic hours in the scorching afternoon sun were spent not knowing. No one understood the extent of what had happened. No one could believe that there were bodies in that building waiting to be identified for over a day. No one knew that the people who were missing had stopped breathing long before any of us had even known that a code red had been called. No one could comprehend the devastating aftermath or how far this would reach or where this would go. For those who still can't comprehend because they refuse to, I'll tell you where it went. Right into the ground, 6 feet deep. 6 minutes and 20 seconds with an AR-15, and my friend Carmen would never complain to me about piano practice. Aaron Feist would never call Kira Miss Sunshine. Alex Schachter would never walk into school with his brother Ryan. Scott Beagle would never joke around with Cameron at camp. Helen Ramsey would never hang out after school with Max. Gina Montalto would never wave to her friend Liam at lunch. Joaquin Oliver would never play basketball with Sam or Dylan. Elena Petty would never, Kara Lugren would never, Chris Hickson would never, Luke Hoyer would never, Marquine Duque Aguiano would never, Peter Wang would never, Alyssa Al-Hadaf would never, Jamie Guttenberg would never, Meadow Pollock would never. Since the time that I came out here, it has been 6 minutes and 20 seconds. The shooter has ceased shooting and will soon abandon his rifle, blend in with the students as they escape, and walk free for an hour before arrest. Fight for your lives before it's someone else's job.